Welcome to the realm of hidden gems and offbeat destinations, where tourists are scarce, prices won't make your wallet cry, and charm oozes out of every cobblestone crack. These are the places where you can sip wine without a selfie stick in sight, hike without dodging flip-flop-wearing amateurs, and snap photos that make people ask, "Where is that?" Spoiler, they'll never find it. This guide is your treasure map to Europe's most delightful, offbeat, and hilariously underrated destinations. Pack your bags, and maybe a sense of humor, because the adventure begins now. And don't forget to smash that like button. It's free, just do it! Let's get started. Number 1. Albarracín, Spain. Tucked away in the rugged hills of Aragon, Albarracín is the kind of place that feels like it escaped from a medieval tapestry. With its dusty pink facades, winding cobblestone streets, and walls that seem to defy gravity as they cling to the cliffs, this tiny town has a haunting charm that sticks with you. The town's cathedral, with its richly painted ceilings and intricate stonework, feels like an accidental masterpiece left behind by time. Wander aimlessly, because the streets make no sense anyway, and stumble across hidden viewpoints that make you question why this isn't overrun by tourists. If you're hungry, the local jamon serrano is a must-try. Though it might ruin all other ham for you forever. Albarracín doesn't just look like a fairy tale, it feels like one. Complete with a slightly unsettling undertone of, how is this place still standing? Number 2. Kotor Bay, Montenegro. If Montenegro's Kotor Bay doesn't leave you breathless, you're probably a robot. Picture jagged mountains plunging dramatically into cobalt waters, quaint villages dotting the shoreline like they were placed by a perfectionist, and a medieval old town that feels untouched by time. The town of Kotor is the crown jewel, with its labyrinthine streets, Venetian architecture, and a fortress wall that snakes up the mountain like an Instagrammer's dream hike. For the brave, or masochistic, climbing the 1,355 steps to the fortress offers views so spectacular, you'll forget about your screaming thighs. As you sip on local wine at a cafe afterward, watching the sun dip behind the mountains, you'll start plotting ways to never leave. Number 3. Civita di Bagnoregio, Italy. Imagine a town so precariously perched on a crumbling hill that it's nicknamed the Dying Town. Now imagine that town is somehow absurdly beautiful, with stone houses that glow golden at sunset and an atmosphere so serene you'll forget modern life exists. Welcome to Civita di Bagnoregio, a place so otherworldly it feels like it belongs in a fantasy novel. Accessed only by a narrow pedestrian bridge, this ancient village has an eerie quiet that makes every sound, your footsteps, the rustle of leaves, feel amplified. Explore the tiny alleys, peek into artisan shops, and marvel at the stunning vistas of the surrounding valley. Sure, erosion is slowly claiming the hill, but isn't that just a metaphor for the fleeting beauty of life? Number 4. Ålesund, Norway. If Art Nouveau architecture had a love affair with breathtaking nature, their offspring would be Ålesund. This Norwegian town, rebuilt in the early 20th century after a devastating fire, is a candy-colored wonderland of turrets, spires, and intricate facades. But the real magic lies in its setting. Ålesund is surrounded by fjords, islands, and mountains that look like they were painted by a particularly ambitious artist. For the best views, climb or drive, no judgment, up Mount Axla, where the panorama will make you wonder why you ever considered vacationing anywhere else. Bonus points if you visit in winter, when the town is dusted with snow and looks like it belongs on a Christmas card. Number 5. Sibiu, Romania. If Transylvania conjures images of gloomy castles and brooding vampires, Sibiu is here to shake things up. This vibrant city blends Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque architecture into a visual feast that will have you snapping photos every 2 steps. The main square, Piazza Mare, is a lively hub where locals and visitors mingle over coffee or a glass of tuica, a potent plum brandy. Look up, and you'll notice the roofs of the houses have eyes, small dormer windows that give the impression that the buildings are watching your every move. Creepy? A little. Charming? Absolutely. The city is also a cultural hotspot, hosting music festivals, art exhibitions, and more than a few excuses to dance in the streets. Number 6. Dinan, France. Dinan is the kind of place that makes you believe time travel is real. This enchanting town in Brittany seems to have frozen itself in the Middle Ages, with its half-timbered houses, cobblestone streets, and a castle that looms over it all like a protective guardian. Wander down Rue du Gersoil, a steep street lined with artisan shops and galleries, and you'll feel like you've stumbled into a historical drama, minus the plague, thankfully. The town's ramparts offer panoramic views of the Rance River, and if you're feeling particularly adventurous, rent a boat to explore the waterway. Add a buttery crepe and a glass of Breton cider to the mix, and you've basically achieved perfection. Number 7. Vlkolínec, Slovakia. Tucked away in the Velká Fatra Mountains, Vlkolínec is a living museum of Slovakian rural life. This tiny village, with its brightly painted wooden houses and pastoral setting, is so picturesque it feels like it belongs in a children's storybook. Life here moves at a slower pace. Sheep graze lazily in the meadows, locals tend their gardens, and the occasional visitor wanders by wide-eyed and awestruck. Don't expect flashy attractions. Instead, immerse yourself in the simplicity and serenity of a place that has largely resisted the pull of modernization. It's an antidote to the chaos of modern life, served with a side of fresh mountain air. Number 8. Giethoorn, Netherlands. Known as the Dutch Venice, Giethoorn is a village where cars are banned and the primary mode of transport is by boat, or if you're feeling fancy, a punter, a flat-bottomed boat pushed along with a pole. This idyllic spot is a maze of canals, bridges, and cottages with thatched roofs that look like they belong in a fairy tale. Rent a boat and glide through the waterways, waving at locals who seem permanently relaxed, or walk along the narrow footpaths and discover cozy cafes where you can sip coffee while marveling at how life can be this serene. The only stress here is deciding whether to take another boat ride or indulge in another slice of Dutch apple pie. Number 9. Óbidos, Portugal. Entering Óbidos is like stepping into a medieval dream. This walled town in central Portugal is a riot of color and charm, with whitewashed houses adorned with splashes of yellow and blue and vibrant bougainvillea cascading from every corner. The cobblestone streets are a joy to explore, leading to hidden squares, artisan shops, and inviting taverns where you can sip on ginginha, a local cherry liqueur served in edible chocolate cups. Climb the town's ancient walls for jaw-dropping views of the surrounding countryside, but watch your step. Gravity here feels particularly unforgiving. By the time you leave, you'll feel like you've lived through a chapter of a history book, albeit one with excellent snacks. Number 10. Hallstatt, Austria. If Disney designed a European village, it would probably look a lot like Hallstatt. This lakeside wonder in Austria is almost too perfect to be real, with its pastel-colored houses, shimmering lake, and backdrop of imposing mountains. Spend your day wandering the streets, visiting the charming market square, and marveling at the Hallstatt salt mine, which claims to be the oldest in the world. For the best views, take a cable car to the Skywalk, a platform that juts out over the valley like nature's version of a catwalk. Whether you're a hiker, a history buff, or just someone who enjoys pretty things, Hallstatt will steal your heart and possibly your breath, because those hills are no joke. Number 11. Lofoten Islands, Norway. The Lofoten Islands are the kind of place where you expect to see Norse gods casually lounging on the cliffs. This dramatic archipelago in northern Norway offers landscapes so breathtaking they feel like they were commissioned by the universe to one-up everywhere else. Jagged peaks rise from the sea like ancient sentinels, while brightly painted fishing villages cling to the coastline as if daring the elements to take them down. The islands are a haven for adventurers. Think kayaking through glassy fjords, hiking to hidden beaches, or casting a line in some of the richest fishing grounds in the world. Visit in winter to witness the northern lights dance across the sky, or come in summer for the midnight sun, which turns even mundane activities like grocery shopping into surreal experiences. Number 12, Kazimierz Dolny, Poland. Kazimierz Dolny is where artists, poets, and anyone with a penchant for romantic scenery come to lose themselves. Nestled along the Vistula River, this Polish town feels like it was tailor-made for a Wes Anderson film. Its Renaissance-era architecture, complete with ornately decorated facades, looks like it was designed by someone who really wanted to impress their neighbors. The town square is the perfect spot to sit with a coffee and people watch, while the surrounding hills are crisscrossed with trails that lead to stunning views of the river valley. The piece de resistance, the local delicacy of plum cakes which are so delicious, you'll briefly consider moving here permanently just to have them on demand. Number 13, Piran, Slovenia. Slovenia's coastal gem, Piran, is a delightful blend of Venetian charm and Adriatic beauty. The old town juts out into the sea like a stony finger, its narrow streets winding through sun-drenched squares and past terracotta-roofed houses. At the heart of it all is Tartini Square, a gleaming plaza named after the town's most famous resident, violinist Giuseppe Tartini. Climb the bell tower of St. George's Church for panoramic views that will make your heart skip a beat, or maybe that's just from the stairs. The seafood here is as fresh as it gets, with local dishes like squid ink risotto and branzino that will make your taste buds do a happy dance. Number 14, Folegandros, Greece. Folegandros is the quieter cousin of Santorini, the one who shuns the spotlight but secretly knows they're just as fabulous. This small island in the Cyclades is a haven of unspoiled beauty, where whitewashed houses cascade down cliffs and wildflowers bloom in abundance. The main village, Chora, is a maze of narrow alleys, charming squares and bougainvillea-covered taverns that beg you to linger. Hike up to the Panagia Church for panoramic views that will make you feel like you're standing on the edge of the world. And the sunsets? Let's just say they're worth the trip alone. Number 15, Berat, Albania. Berat, aka the City of a Thousand Windows, looks like a medieval fairy tale with a serious obsession with symmetry. Perched on the Osum River, its white Ottoman houses stack up the hillside so perfectly they'd make a neat freak weep with joy. Stroll through Gorica's charming stone streets, then cross into Mangalem, where the house's wooden windows stare at you like judgmental ancestors. If that's not impressive enough, Berat Castle, yes, people still live inside, offers Byzantine churches, secret courtyards, and jaw-dropping views. And the food? Tavkosi, baked lamb and yogurt sauce, and byrek, flaky pastry, paired dangerously well with Albania's criminally underrated wine. By the time you leave, you'll either be in love or plotting ways to buy a house here. Number 16, Bohinj, Slovenia. Lake Bohinj is the quieter, wilder sibling of Slovenia's famed Lake Bled, and honestly, it's better that way. This glacial lake, nestled in the heart of Triglav National Park, is framed by the rugged peaks of the Julian Alps, creating a picture-perfect setting for outdoor adventures. The water is so clear you'll feel guilty even thinking about skipping a stone across it. Take a paddleboard or kayak out on the lake, or hike the nearby trails for jaw-dropping vistas. Feeling brave? Ride the Vogel cable car for a bird's-eye view that will either exhilarate or terrify you, depending on your relationship with heights. Whether you're in it for the adrenaline or the tranquility, Bohinj delivers on every front. Number 17, Ronda, Spain. Ronda doesn't just perch on a cliff, it owns it. This Spanish town, split in half by a dramatic gorge, looks like it was carved out by a vengeful deity with an eye for aesthetics. The Puente Nuevo Bridge, an engineering marvel that connects the two halves of the town, is the kind of thing that makes you stop and wonder how humans ever pulled it off. Explore the old town, where ancient churches and charming plazas beckon. Then head to the Plaza de Toros, one of the oldest bull rings in Spain. Afterwards, settle into a terrace with a glass of local wine and tapas, and let the sweeping views remind you why Spain is always a good idea. Number 18, Valldemossa, Mallorca, Spain. Nestled in the Tramontana Mountains, Valldemossa is so idyllic it feels like it was created specifically for postcards. This Mallorcan village is a maze of cobblestone streets, stone houses and flower-filled courtyards that seem to exude tranquility. It's famous for its connection to composer Frédéric Chopin and writer George Sand, who spent a winter here in the 19th century. Visit the Carthusian monastery where they stayed or simply wander the streets, ducking into artisanal shops and cafes. Don't leave without trying a coca de patata, a sweet pastry that pairs perfectly with a coffee, or a second one if you're feeling indulgent. Valldemossa isn't just a place, it's a mood and one you'll want to bottle up and take home. Number 19, Tarnów, Poland. Tarnów is the unsung hero of southern Poland, often overshadowed by its glitzier neighbor Krakow but no less worthy of your attention. Its old town is a masterpiece of Renaissance architecture, with a town square so charming it feels like a movie set. Wander through the streets to discover hidden courtyards, Gothic churches and murals that tell the story of Tarnów's rich Jewish heritage. History buffs will appreciate the museums, while foodies will delight in the hearty Polish cuisine served up in the town's cozy restaurants. Number 20. Porvoo, Finland. Porvoo is Finland's answer to Higa, a town so picturesque it feels like it was designed by someone whose only goal was to make you feel cozy. Its old town is a maze of colorful wooden houses, cobbled streets and boutiques selling everything from artisanal chocolates to handcrafted textiles. Stroll along the river, where the iconic red warehouses line the waterfront, and pop into one of the cafes for a cinnamon bun and a cup of strong Finnish coffee. In winter the town becomes a snowy wonderland, complete with twinkling lights and an almost magical stillness. Porvoo doesn't just charm you, it hugs you with its warmth and refuses to let go. So, you've journeyed through Europe's quirkiest corners, feasted on plum cakes, hiked up dizzying fortresses and probably mispronounced half the place names along the way. You've dodged tourist traps, discovered the magic of underappreciated towns and, most importantly, claimed smug bragging rights over anyone who dared post another Eiffel Tower photo. But the real victory? You've unlocked a secret level of travel, the one where authenticity trumps cliches, where stories outshine souvenirs, and where you can confidently say, "Oh, you haven't heard of Civita di Bagnoregio? Yeah, it's kind of a hidden gem." Feel free to deliver that line with a humble yet devastatingly smug smile. Now go forth and share your newfound knowledge, sparingly. After all, these gems won't stay hidden if everyone knows about them. Europe is ready for your next adventure and so are we. Until then, keep wandering and remember, the best places are often the hardest to pronounce.